back here in the long dark. We're back in a pilgrim's journey today, and we're actually sort of at the finale. This is going to be the sort of officially the final episode in the series, episode 10. And then I think I'm going to throw in a few bonus episodes, 2 or 3, because there's still a couple things I think that would be fun to do, actually, and to show any of you guys who are still doing the pilgrim thing when those come out. But we're going to focus on some of the other difficulties. Look at this. It's absolutely stunning, right? I think we're at, where are we? We're at the train station in the, what's it called? The transfer pass. But anyway, we're not actually there. We're here at the menus. And I want to start here because actually it's going to give me a good way to show you guys the differences between the difficulties. So let's pop into a new game. You can see we've got Pilgrim here, Voyager, Stalker, and Loper. We've been playing Pilgrim. We've gone over this a little bit, but we'll rehash here. For new or experienced players most interested in pensive exploration, most survival elements tuned to be very forgiving. Wildlife will not attack unless provoked, and allows for 5 active feats. So if you've been watching the series and you've been experiencing it, you know that it's pretty easy. And my big recommendation, of course, is to spend time, learn the mechanics, learn how to survive, but also mainly learn how to get around to the different, your starter map, and then, of course, to the different areas that you're going to need to for longer survival, right? We pop up here to Voyager for new or experienced players looking for a balance between exploration and survival. Wildlife is sparse, but can seek you out. In other words, wolves and bears aren't going to generally actively come after you. You have to sort of mess with them to make it come at you. Here, though, they're going to hunt you, especially if you have any kind of meat or any kind of scent on you. Let's see. Survival elements are challenging, but resources are plentiful and allows for 4 active feats. My personal opinion is that Voyager and Pilgrim mode are basically the same thing, and we'll go over some of the differences here in a minute. But as far as the amount of things that you're going to find that are going to be available to you, you should still get a lot and a lot of good stuff. So, but you will have the wolves coming to check you out. Let me hit Stalker mode. For veteran players looking for a punishingly challenging survival experience, hostile wildlife is common and will hunt you down. All survival elements are tuned to be particularly challenging and allows for 3 active feats. Interloper. For expert players looking for the ultimate wilderness survival challenge, you start with the most minimal resources and have to craft everything you need to survive. The world becomes more hostile the longer you survive and allows for 2 active feats. So that's your basic explanation of the different difficulties. We also have a custom mode down here. For players looking for a unique experience separate from standard survival mode. Adjust variables including wildlife spawns, resource availability, and weather. Give your custom experience mode settings to fellow survivors using a special shareable code, which is pretty interesting, I think. I think I've done it once or twice. Allows up to 5 active feats. Basically, you can choose. No feats progression will occur in custom experience mode. So you can't add to your fire badge if you're playing in custom mode. Right? Well, we're going to go in here because it's going to actually let us look at all the different types of difficulties. Right? And so here's our basic, custom mode screen. I think pretty much everything's set to. Oh, it doesn't go back. Okay, let me pop back out here for a minute. Go back in. Alright, so everything's just kind of just sitting there. You can kind of change things how you want. This is sort of what's going to be in the world right now. So this says there's not going to be a lot. Modifies the base availability of spawnable resources, including gear items. Sets a baseline level of challenge, which can be modified. When set to low, certain items not allowed on the interloper experience mode will not spawn, such as hatchets or knives. The presence of rifles in the world is not affected by this setting. So you can get in here and basically really just change things however much you want. You can make your days longer. You can make the weather change all the time, hardly ever. You could have no blizzards ever. You could have just a few, or it's a big problem. uh, this affects how the world gets colder over time, right? So if it's none, then nothing happens. If it's low, then after a certain amount of time, a month or two, every day will be technically 5 degrees colder than it would have been. So it's not going to just keep going 5 degrees colder every day. There's a baseline. But if it was supposed to be negative 20, it's going to be negative 25, right? If you go up to medium, it's 10 degrees. So if it's supposed to be negative 20, it's going to be negative 30. And high, again, after this period of time, it slowly goes down. But when it's totally maxed out, I think it's 50 days on interloper, it's going to be 20 degrees colder. So if it's negative 20, it's going to be negative 40 that day. And if the next day is 7 degrees, it's going to be negative 13 kind of thing. So yeah, it just it doesn't continue to add every single day after that or over time. It hits a certain point. How often the wind changes, how many times you get auroras, whether your fire's automatically, as soon as you light it, you're going to be warm, or at least should. Doesn't always work. This is a special setting. I wouldn't mess with it. And I've gone over these before in like the first episode, so I'm not going to rehash too much because I kind of want to get this moving along. I could spend 2 hours just going over every single setting. So, but obviously this affects how quickly our food meter goes down, our thirst meter, and our fatigue meter, and our freezing conditions, how much we heal when we're sleeping, how long it takes for us to heal from hypothermia. Now, I think this one's kind of a confusing one, just in case you don't know. So, if it's a very high, it means it's going to take a very long time for you to recover from hypothermia. Same thing from the frostbite. So, if it's on low, you'll actually recover pretty quickly. Cabin fever, if you spend too much time indoors, you're going to have to go sleep outside. There is a snow shelter you can build for 15 sticks and some cloth. And you can sleep in that, or you can sleep in a cave or a car. Parasites, and again, we can turn these off. I usually turn this off. I don't really play with I don't honestly believe in cabin fever. Anyway, the parasites that you can get from eating predator meat. Good old dysentery from drinking bad water. Sprains, I usually turn this off too. Just, again, that's what's fun about custom mode. I personally just don't enjoy this particular mechanic. That's it. There's nothing wrong with it. It actually makes sense in the game. They even give you some crampons you can walk around in to make it less of a problem. But, yeah, whatever. Do what you want to do. Yeah. Now, this one just helps you, and again, I think this is an important one. This way you don't waste any time. You're not oversleeping if you don't need to. This is actually brand new to me, anyway. I haven't really played with it yet. But basically you need to get vitamin C from certain types of food. A can of peaches will work. I believe fish is like one of the best ways to get vitamin C. So fishing is going to be important early game in some of the harder difficulties. Now, this is on our current playthrough. Why don't we just switch to that? That'll probably be smarter. Hello. Do we need to go back? We'll go back. That's fine. Because I changed some things. But if we just flip over here to Pilgrim, you can see it change over. So we had the baseline of what you get when you first go into custom mode, and this is actually on the settings that we're using now. You can see our weather doesn't change a lot. I think honestly medium's the best setting because one, it'll make things more dynamic, and two, this also means that on a really bad snowy day, it's just going to be a very long bad snowy day. So eh, I think medium's good for this, and medium's good for this on any playthrough. But note of that world getting colder over time. Again, same thing with the auroras. I think medium's perfect for those things, and the wind. I just feel like the wind gets too annoying at being on the high. Everything's pretty low except for the fatigue rate. The fatigue rate is actually high. I personally find this very unrealistic, but you know. And no cabin fever. We don't have to worry about parasites. This is just set up for you to learn. That's why it's called Pilgrim. It's set up for you to learn the mechanics, like I said. Learn the maps. Most importantly, learn the maps. This is another one that's important and can become challenging in some of the harder difficulties. If you're not careful, even by a fire, you can freeze to death. So you might need to sleep in little shifts, or maybe not sleep at all. So now we're into the gear. This is just going to mean that things are going to lose condition more slowly than they do in some of the harder levels. So if you start out on day one, and everything's going to be sort of assigned this random number. Everything's not at 100% on day one, right? But let's say there's a jacket that's at 50%, right? And I want it. But I don't get it for like 3 months. And after that 90 days, right, I come across this jacket. In this mode, it might be down to 40%. But in Voyager mode, it might be down to 36%. In Stalker mode, it might be down to 23%. And in Interloper, it might be gone. Very high. This just does exactly what it says. It just makes more stuff appear out and around on the ground. More bags of chips. More random bullets, sewing kits, whatever. This means that there's nothing on here that you can make it so that there's more of a chance to find empty containers. This one means you just have whatever the base random chance for finding something empty or full. Obviously, we're going to need a lot of sticks. Life's good. Sticks, branches, and stones. You never really need to worry about firewood in this level. This just means that you're going to start out with like matches, gloves, something to make water with. I think water purification tablets. I don't know. Some antiseptic. Just a ton of gear. Guns are on. Lots of harvestable plants. And again, you can make this so it's harder to find more than one item in a container. That's all that means. You're going to have lots of fishies. Low on the wolves. Well, the animals are passive anyway, so it's not like you're probably messing with them. And then we've got our deer and rabbit. They're very high. Plenty of food. We've got our bear spawn is very low. Our moose spawn is very low. The moose spawn being low is really annoying. I think it should just be medium on any level, but how long it takes for the wildlife to respawn. Now, again, we can make it so that the more we hunt, the more we're depleting our wildlife population over time. And just as life goes on, we're going to say predation is taking out our rabbits and some wolves are starving. And so over time, your animals are going to disappear. Be less and less. That's just your standard wolf spawn distance, I believe. I think on Stalker, maybe they come closer. Do you want 24 hours with no wolves? It's up to you. All right. So the wildlife has a low scent detection range. So, in other words, you can probably get away with a lot of running around. It doesn't really matter because the animals are on passive and they don't actually track you in this mode, so... But I'm just kind of explaining what it does. So we have a medium scent increase. More. So this is basically like them smelling you. This is them smelling you with meat. No, they're not generally going to mess with you, but they can attack you and kill you. They're not going to jump you in your sleep. Wolf fear is sort of more of a timber wolf thing, I think. It just depends, like, so are they going to keep coming after you if you have a torch or a flare? But it doesn't really matter what level you're on. As long as you have a torch and a rock, you're fine, generally. Again, this means that it's actually going to take you, when it's high, it's easier to scare off timber wolves. And during a timber wolf attack, there's a morale bar. You got to throw a bunch of rocks and torches at them until they run away. Again, this means they just sort of have, it's a general medium range. They can smell you from wherever. I think it's pretty basic. If you get attacked, how bad's it going to be? Well, high for this means that we're going to be really doing better than average, actually. So, again, sometimes the wording on these is a little confusing. But yeah, again, you know, if I get attacked, I have a much better chance of not only being not as hurt or have my gear quite as trashed either. Now you can make this higher or lower as far as the damage is concerned. So I can make it so that I'm actually getting a lot of damage. Or focus it more on the clothing. And that's all she wrote. So now if we go back up to the top, that was Pilgrim. If we jump over to Voyager, you see things just start to change a little bit. So our baseline resource availability is going to go from very high to high. There's really just not that much difference, I don't think. You're still going to have all the same clothing, all the synthetic gear, hatchets, knives, guns, and all that stuff. And you're still going to be able to find tons of matches. It's just a little bit harder, and some things change. Like, instead of starting at the best time, you could start noon with it being clear. You're going to get what you get. You could start at the middle of the night in a blizzard. So that is more challenging. You can still spawn indoors. We've moved up to medium, which again I think is some of the best settings, the most realistic and immersive settings. World's going to get 5 degrees colder over a certain amount of time. Most of this stuff is the same. Now you can see we're actually burning calories and we're getting thirstier faster, but the fatigue rate is exactly the same. Again, there's just not too many differences. We can get cabin fever, but we still can't get parasites. Scurvy, so you're gonna have to watch your vitamin C. There'll be plenty of peaches, oatmeal, whatever, anything you can get vitamin C from. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a bunch. Fires are still keeping you warm. Now your item decay rate is moved up to medium. You know, you just you want to move at a little quicker pace, getting from area to area, which is why I think it's important to learn in Pilgrim mode how to get to these different areas. Because the quicker you can go through, loot everything, and set up your bases, is the better. Look at a few modifiers. We've got high instead of very high. You're basically getting the same amount of gear. You might not have, I don't know, some lighter fluid. Guns are available. Again, it's all basically the same. It's just, you know, we got a little more chance of wolves and timber wolves. Less chance slightly on the deer. Again, we're going to get a few more bears and moose, which is good. You're going to need those moose. And it's going to start to, you're going to start to whittle away slowly at your population. But it really shouldn't affect you unless you're going for like thousands of days. Now, the wolf spawn distance is close. Means they can show up like right beside you. Uh, like when you come out of the door or when you anyway, you just want to be careful. These guys will pop up right beside you. I bet you got 24 hours to get where you need to be without any bad guys. They're probably saying, okay, this person's going to give it a shot for the first time. Let's make it not completely crazy. Again, just a few changes. Things are beating you up a little more. Wolves are a little tougher, but not too much. And they can get you when you're sleeping. Back to the top. And so now this should go a little faster, I think, because we've kind of covered, like, you know, the basics here. Stalker, again, our resource availability, that's what we really want to watch. And so now you're actually going to start to feel it, I think, in Stalker mode, where you're going to start seeing that you have less food, less sewing kits, less hatchets, less everything. And this is where all that planning from the first two, Pilgrim and Voyager, is really going to help you, because having those mini bases, learning where to go to get resources, figuring out where to, you know, get cattails and rose hips, that's all going to start to really matter here. Not just because overall there's less resources, but it's also going to be colder. You're going to be starving more often. You're going to need to eat more because you're going to have higher decay rates on your meters. So random, no indoor spawns, same thing. Right, so now our weather's changing more frequently. I mean, high is not bad. It's just I prefer, again, to me, medium is more realistic, but high is more challenging for sure. And again, I just personally, I don't see a need to change. I think it might be medium for everyone. And then we're getting that 10 degrees. And now, here we go. Fire does not overcome ambient air temp. So fires do not automatically set the temp just above freezing. You're going to have to get that fire going. You're going to have to get it hot. We've talked about that in past videos, where you can use sticks. You know, wood, just throw some wood on there. But coal is really your best way. 30 some odd degrees per piece. Super fast. All right, now you can see our calorie burn rate is going up to high. So we're going to be getting hungry a lot more. Thirst stays medium, but you're going to need to feed yourself. And when I say a lot more, like, listen to me. In these difficulties, Stalker and Interloper, you need to eat like 10, 11 pounds of meat a day. It's ridiculous. Our fatigue rate is high, which has been through every single level. I don't know if you've noticed, but so Pilgrim, it's high. Voyager, it's high. Stalker, it's high. Freezing rate, everything just went up one level basically. Got the parasites going now. So you're going to have to either get your food score up to level 5 or risk parasites when you eat predator meat. It's a percentage, so the more predator meat you eat, the higher it goes. So you might eat one steak and maybe you got a 2% chance of getting parasites. Eat another steak and now you got like a 6% chance the next time you eat it. You're going to need a lot of vitamin C. Fires do not prevent freezing, so again, like I said, you got to get those fires going. You need to have tons of sticks. We talked about that in the last episode. We actually spent like 30 minutes wandering around gathering sticks. Get your sticks, people. Will not wake you up if you're freezing, so you can kill yourself by sleeping and getting too cold. Our decay rate is high. We need to get moving pretty quickly to get all this stuff as soon as possible. Again, our modifiers just making it harder and harder to find things. Now on this level, you may or may not get gloves and a hat. So we know that you need gloves and a hat to avoid frostbite, and maybe you'll get gloves, maybe you won't get a hat. Maybe it's the other way around, maybe you won't have it either. So you need to. No, I think you get one or the other, at least. Yeah. I think you'll start off with either gloves or a hat, at least. Maybe both. Now we've got our very high wolf and timber wolf spawn chance. This is called Stalker, and the theory is, of course, at this point that you are out there actively hunting. You have a good idea of how to play this game and how the weather works and how things are going. Our deer and rabbit spawns are at medium. That's fine. You're gonna again. They're going a little bit faster down over time. There we go. Reduced wildlife population over time is medium now. But our moose and bear is very high. That's good for survival. No grace period. So now they can pick you up from very far away. Just you. Just you walking around. The wind's blowing in their direction. The wind does affect it. They can pick you up and start looking for you. Scent increase is still medium, so anytime you have that on you, it's just going to make it easier for them to pick you up from even further away. Timberwolf morale is low. I mean, it's going to be hard to get those wolves to break, so remember that. This means it's a little harder to get these guys scared as well. And now we're getting down to not really getting much from our struggle bonus at all, and we're taking high damage. And finally, interloper. And that's right, everything's basically going to go up. So our baseline resources are low. That means there's just not much in this world, period. Laying around in lockers, there's just not a ton of stuff. Random, we know that goes, no, yeah. So now we're getting into very high weather and blizzard frequency. It's going to be windy, and then snowing, and then sunny, and then foggy, and then blizzard, and then another blizzard, and then windy, and it's just crazy. 20 degrees. Again, medium. So, I mean, they know. I mean, you can make it worse. Most settings are the same. Now you're going to see our calorie rate, burn rate is very high. So when I'm telling you, you need to eat like 10, 11 pounds of meat. You need to get killing moose. That's why the moose and the bears are high, or very high. Because you got to kill them all the time. And that's how you're going to get the most meat. And remember, they're going to disappear over time, so you're going to get more out of that than you are from the deer and the rabbits. Thirst rate is high. You're going to be thirsty all the time. You're going to need tons of water, to stop, make fires, and make water, carry water. It's just water, meat. That's what an interloper is. Fatigue rate went down. That's right. And that goes actually on the hardest level. You actually have more fatigue than you do on the easiest level. I don't know. It's a gimme. I personally think low is the best setting and the most realistic, but hey, that's fine. Freezing rate, very high. We're down to medium on our conditions during the evening. I mean, it's going to take a long time for us to recover. A long time for hypothermia and frostbite. Well, actually, this means how quickly we get frostbite. Yeah, I should clarify that. Yeah, this is how long it takes us to get better from it, or reduce the chance of having hypothermia. This is actually how quickly we get frostbite. All the things are on, and the important good things are off. There's not too much difference, except right here. So our item decay rate is going to be extremely fast. I would recommend trying to get to every single region. Now, with the new far territory, I think it's a little more difficult, but I would say within like 3 to 4 months time. You don't have to, but if you want to get stuff before it literally despawns out of containers because it hits 0 and that's it. You walk into the map and like 10 things you could have had just boop gone. So move as quickly as possible. Look, think about it. The decay rate's quick. You got to move quick. There's hardly anything laying around on the ground, just out and about. The chance of getting an empty container is super high. If you ever watch me play any of the custom interloper runs that I do, then you know how hard it is to find stuff. It's even hard to find sticks and branches, y'all. No matches, no hat, no gloves. Just pretty much the clothes you have on you, I think. No sleeping bag. I don't even know if you get a can for water. No guns. Or hatchets or knives or synthetic high-end gear. So, no expedition parka. Not happening. No snow pants. Plenty of plants to eat, though. You're going to need those to survive. And again, when you do find stuff, you're hardly ever going to find more than one thing in the container. Now, fish spawn chance is actually going down to medium. I don't really know how much this is going to affect how it used to affect things, but since fish are vitamin C, this could get rough. High. Now, I want to point out that on stalker mode, these are actually higher. So remember, wolves are actually worse on stalker mode. Not a lot of deer or rabbits, and they've dropped this down to high. So again, very much so is your world a lonelier place. Not much of a change here. Aha. So now they're actually going to take a little bit further away to detect you. Interesting. And then, of course, our struggle bonus, they're just trying to kill you at this point. You better have some bear skins on to survive. And that's our basic differences in our modes. Now, another thing I want to talk about in this custom mode, right, is that you've always got the option to come in here and make anything the way you want. So when you're first starting to move up and you want to try, let's say, I don't know, you want to give cabin fever a try and see what happens there. You know, maybe you want to turn the frostbite up and the hypothermia up just a little bit, just see what that's like. And then you're like, I'm kind of curious about this whole scurvy. And if you're going to be able to find enough things to deal with it, it's definitely going to be in the pilgrim mode. So basically, I just came over to pilgrim mode. I made a couple changes, so everything else is still basically the same. Oh, and of course, maybe we want to learn how to where is it? Deal with those wolves. So we'll turn those guys on. And maybe, make it easier for you to get closer to them. That's what that does. So they won't detect you. They've got to be close to detect you. This is the normal range. This is from when they can get you from far away. Okay. But you can change any of these things. You can Make it so you get beat up a little bit more just to give that a shot, you know. I don't know. And then you don't have to go full tilt into the next level if you don't want to. So if you're worked your way around Voyager for a while, but you're a little scared of what Stalker might do, especially with the high uh, spawn rate of the wolves, knock it back down to Interloper. And now you're you're basically playing Interloper on the wolf, at least the amount of wolves that are going to be around. So, or maybe you want to just give yourself a little break. But that's what I really like about custom mode, and I think it, like next to Pilgrim mode, it's one of the best ways to play for a beginner, a new player, because you can really get in there and I feel like a lot of people do get intimidated by this game, and I feel like there's different ways to slowly sort of introduce different things into your playthroughs by using the custom mode. But now we're going to pop in and we're just going to go over a few more hints and tips, a few little things to note. We covered a good bit in the last episode as far as, fires, gathering sticks, making torches and things, but we're going to talk just a little bit, a little few reminders. And get you going for moving around the maps and whatnot. Let's see, we're out here in the fishing hut. Let's grab that bedroll. Get my fuel. Don't think I need too much from here. Just leave our little fishing setup as is. Take Astrid home and let her go to sleep. She's exhausted. I did work her over pretty good. We made fires, we walked around and we gathered a bunch of sticks and coal. So one thing, I guess we'll just start here. Let me think about this for a minute. So we're doing well because we've got a lot of good gear, right? And that's going to keep us warm. But even with good gear in the harder levels, particularly in Stalker mode and Interloper mode, you're going to want to try to get as much heat going as possible. So a lot of times what you're going to end up doing is making fires. There we go. I got some firewood sticking out the door, so we'll throw a little bit out here. Alright, so we got a nice fire. We put all that wood up in there, and we threw the sticks on, so that's going to help it heat up pretty quickly. Generally, things get a little better around, 20 to 30 some odd degrees. Obviously, if you want to get above freezing, and you're playing here in America, you want to get about 34. But we got a nice little fire, so what I could do is put this little tea here, warm that up, and while that's warming up, we'll go and we'll start grabbing some torches. And so a lot of time you're going to need, when you're making your fires, you're going to add a lot of firewood. You're going to be walking around with, like I said in the last video, you want like 70, 80 sticks on you while you're wandering around. Well, you'll find you'll end up making these fires that are like, 6-7 hours long. Mostly because you need the warmth, right? Well, let's say it's a blizzard out there. It's freezing. I can drink my tea here. I got plenty of hydration. I always leave a little space just for that. As long as I grab that torch within 10 minutes, we walk out the door. And now this is how generally you want to move. When you can, in the long dark.
To rest.
And that is with a torch in our hand. If you don't have a lit torch in your hand, you want to walk around with a torch ready to be lit. And or a flare. And why? Because of those guys right there. And so I've talked about this before, you know, when they attack, you don't do that. You quickly jump to your rock, torch pops in front of you, aim at his face, he goes boop, 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 and runs away. Pick up your torch, equip it while he's running. If you can run, get out of dodge. Then he's going to turn around and start tracking you again. And hopefully, we'd be able to get up to our little shelter here before you got to be too big of a problem. But if he caught up to us, yoink, yoink, yoink. Now the problem is he's going to run this way. Now he's running in the direction you're going. And they didn't do it on purpose, I swear. Yeah, no. So that can be problematic. So we're getting a little bit of wind, and that could be, you know, an issue here for my torch. But basically when we're moving along, you want to just, when you can, when that's about to run out, there's different ways to do this. You can go in this way. That's going to use your very best torch. Yeah. Just try to get faster at it. I like to use my worst and work up to the better ones. And that's how you string a torch. And again, we've done that before in the series. I just want to show a few, just go over a few things we've already talked about. But we're still moving. This is giving me my 4-degree warmth bonus. And so let's say the house wasn't there. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We don't know this map. Our first time. Mystery, right? Like, oh man. Power lines. Ooh. Of course we know when we see power lines in this game, what does it mean? That means there's civilization somewhere, right? Probably nearby. And then we got another indicator, one of the other things that's good in this game, a railroad track. So roads, railroad tracks, and power lines mean people. Can't really see anything, so I'm like, guess I'll just head down the tracks in these power lines. Hope my torch doesn't go out. Wind's picking up, so what I could do is try to tuck in here a little bit. And try to get by this wall and use it to protect myself from the wind, right? And that's what that little swirl up there means. So even though the wind's blowing pretty good, I don't have to worry about it blowing out my torch as much. I'm using this tree right now. And then I can sprint and try to get a little protection from these. And of course, if any wolves come along, I've got this to fight my wolves. And I see a nice lump ahead, some kind of shape. Right? We've got just a little bit more of running. Our poor little Astrid here, her fatigue is almost drained. But we need shelter, right? We're in trouble. We come up with our train car. If you played this game long enough, you know usually there's a way into one of these cars. Not always. Oh, man. Sneak in here. And boom. Should be pretty good. but I can't drop a fire in here. Oh no.
I'm so tired I could lay down right here.
Poor Astrid. So now we can't run anymore. We're actually going to start taking some damage. And I should probably hug the wall. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my torch, and then, like I said, the 4-degree warm furnace, you know, it's going to go away. Got a little windbreak. Good time to switch torches. Let's just take a slightly better one this time. Again, I'm just going to use the windbreak. See? Staying warm. Keeping the world lit. And scaring off the bad guys. Wind's picking up. Well, it's not really picking up. It's just I'm out in the middle of it. I don't really have a good windbreak. I was thinking about trying to get on the other side of these tracks. So again, you know, in Voyager mode, you might have actually gotten rid of the wolf. In Stalker mode, you're going to have to fight this guy probably 3 or 4 times. Because, again, he pathed directly where I'm going. But we still got fire, right? We still got a way to keep warm if we can get someplace to put a fire down. Follow the lines, follow the track. I see something ahead. Hopefully we can creep into here, right? Before the torch goes out. Can't run though. Like I said, we maxed out the Astrid's, she's real sleepy. Not quite. Get up there. Ugh. Now, probably not the warmest place, is it? Probably not totally windproof either, but aha, we can put a fire down. Now, we don't have much firewood, right?
Come on, little fire.
Sleeping in here is probably a possibility. I can probably either get the bedroll down on the floor or one of these chairs here.
Oh.
But let's throw a piece of coal on. Now watch, we're at 2 degrees. Boom. Got an hour's worth of heat. It's just shooting up. Like I said, it will hit 30. I think it's 33. Maybe it's more. Ooh. I had 2 degrees, 36, so yeah. So 38 degree fire, that's pretty good. 1 piece of coal. Might not actually do the trick, right? Depending on how cold it is. If it's negative 40 degrees, depending on my clothing, it might not be that great. Nope. Stand here, break that up, right? We can use that as time to warm up. Gives me another stick, and then again, we got some coffees. I'm sure I've got herbal tea, birch bark, mushrooms. What do you want? What do you want? Let's make some more mushrooms. And you're standing here and you're getting a little warmer, you know. Maybe the wind will change. Could stop snowing. If it got foggy, it wouldn't be too bad, right? Because we at least got the railroad tracks. But if you had a little piece of meat or something, or soup, you wanted to cook? I don't think I have any stuff like that on me, but get a nice little warmth. We got our tea sitting there, and then just again, you want to break down your fire. You don't want to waste it. I'm gonna be one torch short. There's no way I can get that last one out. Grab our torch, right? Drink the tea. Warmth bonus. Pick up the skillet. Hit the door. Now I could have drank a coffee, right? I don't want to because I want to stay fatigued. I don't want to be able to run. But I could have drank a coffee, and that would have helped me be warm. It would have increased. Well, you guys see me drink coffee in this series, right? Fatigue reduction, and it would give me some more fatigue, so I could hoof it just a little bit faster. But I just want to show you that, you know, the torch will last. I mean, look at this mess. I would think a lot of people, if you're new to the game, would think, no way, dude. And I mean, it still might go out before we get there, but you know, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to try to get over here and see if I can get some of the terrain to use. There we go. We got the windbreak right there. Just try to keep this sucker alive, right? And so let's say we're in really bad straits and I just can't find anything, man. And I can't sleep out here. I don't have enough firewood. I'm going to keep going and going. As long as we got this torch, we've got fire, we've got tea, we've got warmth, we can make water. If we come across any harvestables, I mean, you guys know we've been living here for like a month now. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at me taking care of me. Look. You might come across some bear meat. Now there's those scent markers, and we have 2, which means we're really stinky. That means bears and wolves, oh my, who might normally be looking for me anyway, are definitely looking for me now. But if I could, and I hear them around, or I think it's a little too dangerous, boom, boom, quick drop them. We're on our way. We're back down to 1 scent marker. I'm not leaving those. Oh wait, I was supposed to take this back to the other camp. Never mind. Little break in the wind. I don't know. Yeah, if that means it's gonna keep going. So I could, let's say I needed water or something. We've got a windbreak here. We could just go ahead and start another fire, right? I don't think I have time to get there, so this time we'll grab the best torch. It's 100% torch. Skidoo. Oh, it's not, actually. I guess I haven't made one yet. There's the rest of my scrap metal from my scrap metal adventure here. You know, we got a moose around, so I've set up a base camp to hunt moose. But let's say there was nothing here, you know, we'd stick my fire where I like to stick my fire, get a little windproof going, we can make some water, we could cook that moose meat we found, and we got some laying around here. And if we had enough fatigue and we wanted to keep pushing, we could push all the way through Ravine. We could push all the way into Coastal Highway, get to Coastal Highway, chaining torches, making fires, picking up sticks, get to a fire barrel at the gas station, light it up, make water, cook food, finally go to sleep, and have a pack of torches, and do that all on one match. Before you put that darn thing out. We've replenished along the way. We've got a decent amount. I wouldn't, you know, I will say weight becomes a consideration in this game, just like any of these games. I feel like a lot of people end up carrying a lot of crap they don't need to. That's probably a good, especially if you're able to chain your fires. If you're being able to chain some fires along the way, that way, just keep grabbing sticks. So you've always got that pile of sticks, so you can always set down another fire and grab some more torches. Otherwise, you're going to just be loaded with them. All right, I think Astrid deserves a little nappy nap. I was going to say, I think I have some. Is it cooked? Yes. Got some fish on me. On our fishing expedition. Yoink, yoink, put this poor lady to bed. Nope. Yep. Never sleep more than 10 hours. You can in Pilgrim mode, but in the modes past Pilgrim mode, you're going to start taking damage, I believe, from hunger, which also will ruin your well-fed. I don't really think I have anything too exciting here that's worth grabbing. Not today, anyway. We're trying to end the series. Yeah. I'm still curious, though. And again, I do have a plan for a few bonus episodes. I'll grab a tea. Because it actually sounds pretty cold outside. There's my little moose side curing. I think I've got... I'll keep one water on the inside. And so that's basically your movement in Voyager and beyond. Yeah, I don't think it'll be quite the problem in Voyager because, again, you're only losing that 5 degrees over time. You're going to have a lot of good synthetic gear laying around. You can pretty much make... You're just hunting for fun, so you can pretty much make any of the deer, wolf skin stuff. Alright, so today is really windy. I don't even think I would try to light a torch. But I also don't plan to walk away here with such a low amount of firewood. 6 sticks is fine. I'll grab one of these. I don't think I have any weapons on me. I don't even know if I want to check to see if they're... Nah, I still got a moose skin down. There's no way there's another moose. Alright, so we're taking some cold damage. It's really cold out today. Let's see. We're, of course, super warm. But it is... negative 27? 26, 27? Feels like 43. Oh, I was looking at fatigue. I was like, man, we have a 52 degree warmth on this. I shouldn't be getting cold. And I'm going to leave a little hunger and a little thirst like I always do. I could probably drink a little something. Actually. There we go. That way, if I need a tea or a coffee, I can drink it. I don't have to worry about trying to run and get my thirst and hunger down. And then actually, if I use it now, it would actually do something for me. I'd get the 100 plus calories for drinking the tea. However, the wind has died, right? But you want to save your match if possible. The only issue is we passed wolves on the way here. And if I want to go back to my little cabin, well, that could be problematic. Not to mention, I happen to know if I go the back way there through the ice, there's a good chance to come across wolves in there too. But that way also has a bear, so maybe... we stick to it. Now, if we were really cold, again, the torch would be very nice to help. And we could pop in here, because it's windproof. And I'm wondering, I don't know if it's going to work inside of here. Yeah. So we have an 85% chance of success in here. Which is basically the same as... what our fire skill would allow us with a match at this point, I think. But that's where that mag lens is going to come in handy.
Perfect.
Saved us some match, right? Throw that on there. Do your tea or your coffee. Make some water. Stand around and warm up. Get your torches and go. And there's our Wolfie boy. Now, there's different ways to approach this. Again, you know, most of the time he's going to pick you up, especially if you have any scent on you, and we do. We have 1 scent. In Voyager mode, we might be getting away with this. In Stalker or Interloper, that dude's coming for you, right? But we can still try to get away from him because he doesn't immediately, like, charge after you. He just kind of starts working his way towards you. It would basically look probably like it's going to look right now. Except he'd be a little more honed in on me, right? And so since he's not running at you, I just would like to point out the serious amount of distance we just put between ourselves and that dude. So even in some of the worst situations, I'd feel pretty comfortable being... I got away from that guy. And I didn't even have to do my little torch trick. Yeah. Speaking of torches, we'll reiterate another one. Let's get those fires lit with the torch. Right? That way, if it doesn't work, you don't have to use an extra match. Now, of course, use your mag lens. Wow, that went really far. To light fires whenever you can. Now, when you get to Interloper, that's going to become very important because overall, the amount of matches that you're going to find is going to reduce. You know, in our time here, in the how many days have we been playing? In our 53 days, we've collected hundreds of matches, and we've only been to like 4 different maps, right? That is not going to be the case. We looked at the modifiers at the beginning of the video. You know, low means low. Finding only one thing in a locker is going to generally be it, and most of the lockers are going to be modified so that there is an even lower chance of finding anything in them at all. You don't start out with matches, so if you don't know, and remember, you don't get to choose what map you start on in Interloper. If you don't know where to find matches, you're going to be dead very quickly. So it's almost like that advice I keep giving of play in Pilgrim mode or custom mode and figure out your maps, your transitions, and where loot and animals are is a really good idea. I don't know about that guy Pizza. He just seems like he's got a good idea. That's all I'm saying. Whenever fires, fishing, man, we're really pretty much about there. I think, I just wanted to show a little bit about how to get through. I was realizing I haven't really done much walking. I've given a lot of advice over the series. We talked a lot about different things. Things that'll work as you move forward, but really like stringing the torches along isn't necessary in Pilgrim mode, but it certainly will be in Voyager and beyond, but more so in Stalker and absolutely in Interloper. You're going to have to, even if this thing isn't lit, you're going to want it in your hand on those 2 modes at all times so you can light it in case a wolf attack comes. But I do think I'm going to throw in a couple bonus episodes. I'm going to definitely. I think it would be fun. One fun one I think would just be interesting would be to go do the smithing. Again, I mentioned it. I don't even know if you'll ever even need it in Pilgrim. I mean, eventually, I suppose. So that thing I think is worth doing, but that takes a little work. I got to get some ropes and stuff. But I think it would be fun to do that. And then a trip from Mystery Lake all the way to Ash Canyon to get the backpack. Stop at the top of Timberwolf Mountain on the way down and hit the plane crash. I think that's always a fun bit. But as you can see, we can keep moving and keep moving. We can go from spot to spot. And hopefully keep things lit. So you could, as long as let's say you're moving from base to base, and you're moving from your main base to one of your mini bases, you've got a couple little caves and spots that you can set up along the way, right? You just keep moving. As you're going on a match, or maybe even just the Maglins, and you just keep that fire going, because I can pick up more firewood here, a couple of sticks, replace that piece of coal and the cedar I just used. I can have a snack. There we go. Still nice and thirsty if I need it. Make a little water, warm up. Oh, that's a good one. Empty out my torches.
This pack is getting kind of heavy.
And just like I've done in a lot of the bases, not in this one apparently, but doesn't hurt to have a couple laying around. We're off for more adventures, right? And as long as the wind doesn't turn on me, or I can get up and get shelter from the wind, I can keep this fire going and going and going. And so that's probably one of the best, I think, or at least one of the tips that I think is important that I didn't really cover at all in the series. Because, you know what? I don't really need this thing. I got 1,000 matches. And keep getting fuel from fishing. I mean, life is good. Life is good. But that is going to be super important, again, in the Stalker and Interloper. Constantly having that torch. Keep picking up those sticks. Get that coal. Make those fires. And then I just want to reiterate, over some of the things we've gone over before. Let's get those mini bases right. Get the gear collected. You want to speed things up. The harder the difficulty gets, the closer you get to Interloper, the faster you want to get out there. So again, the more map knowledge you have, the more places you know where to go and hide, the better. And walking around and with something in your hand. So if it's a really windy day, you can see why I would prefer to have this in my hand, because if I come over here and there's a pack of wolves or timber wolves and they're like, it's lunchtime, and I happen to have a marine flare. I haven't even collected any marine flares because don't need them. But I could pop this real quick in the worst wind conditions. Oh my gosh, it's a rock and a flame. Wolves take off. We run away. Life is good. That's super loud. Now, the other things that we're going to want to talk about just briefly, and again, it's more of just kind of going over stuff we've already discussed, but pop inside here. You want to get those foodstuffs as quickly as possible in Stalker and Interloper. Remember, things are going to deteriorate much faster, so their usefulness is going to go down much more quickly, right? So the sooner you get those gathered up, right, the better off you'll be. All this stuff here, the flour and the oil and the salt. Remember to keep your broth outside and your uh, pies. They last a lot longer that way. But over here at the crafting table, we're going to go over the clothing. And so in Interloper or Stalker mode, there's a real good chance that most of your weight is going to be in your clothing. You're not going to have a ton of stuff to tote around generally. Anyway, you're going to have pretty good map knowledge, so you know where to stash meat and heavy things, caves and whatnot. But you probably end up walking around in two of these, believe it or not. That's 22 pounds of weight. The deerskin boots, there's a good chance you're going to be running in those. That's 4.5 pounds. The pants, 4.5 pounds. You in the rabbit hat and gloves. They're renewable resources. You're not going to have any kind of synthetics that are going to work as well in the interloper settings. Remember, none of that stuff's going to be there. And the wolfskin coat works pretty nicely. I think it does scare a lot of wolves. And I also think the bearskin coat gets you to run off some wolves for you. But yeah, everything that's animal skin, basically everything on the list you're probably end up making at some point. I don't know how well this works. Uh, you know, Waterproof wise, it's like pretty much the best thing, and I don't think it reduces your running speed that much, right? Compared to the bearskin. Yeah, the bearskin's 20, and that's only 10% for the moose hide cloak. But you're not even getting the warmth, I don't think, of the wolfskin coat. Which is even lighter. So about the same windproofing, but not quite as warm as the wolf. I have never made this ever. But all the other deerskin clothing and stuff, remember, you're going to be running around, you're going to have multiple wolf coats, multiple bearskin coats, you're going to need all this stuff. And you're going to need to stay hunting to feed yourself, because remember, 12 pounds of meat a day, basically. And you're going to need these hides to fix your clothing. Same thing with the guts. Which is why you're going to end up with these piles. And they're going to be depleted and refilled, depleted and refilled as you go along. But you can see we've got a nice little stash here. I would normally do. Again, you're going to need to do in the Interloper and Stalker is get back out there and go back to your mini bases. Pull back in all of those things that you need to live and survive. To keep going. Folks, I think I'm going to do that and call it a wrap up. I'm happy with this. And like I said, we'll be back to revisit. I'm not finished with some, we've got some more tips and things I can give you. We can talk about climbing ropes and different things. Like I said, I'd expect 2 to 3 more episodes. But I definitely have a new series coming in the Long Dark that I have just been losing my mind. Super excited, ready to get going. And I am very happy to get that started. So look for that in the next couple days. We're also going to go see Kraz Steelheart in Skyrim. We need to get back to my friends. It's been a couple days. I haven't really been able to do anything. But it's nice to be back and broadcasting today. And finishing up this series. And it's not 3 hours long. That's another one I wanted to kind of keep it a little shorter today. Especially if we're going to come back and goof around. But anyway, I just want to say thanks to everybody that's tuned in to all I've been doing these 10 episodes. You guys are awesome. Thanks to the people that have subscribed and said hello. You're always welcome to say hi, you guys. I keep the chat on my phone. I just don't put it up on the screen because it takes up part of my screen. I don't know that everybody wants their business out there. So, yeah, if you want to say hi, feel free to. You guys, I always appreciate it. I really like it. And yeah, to all you guys that have been checking these videos out, thank you a lot. I really appreciate you guys. So, I'm out of here, you guys. So if you happen to catch this, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you see us at a later date or time, thanks for watching. You guys, I hope you're having a great day. Y'all be good to each other.